G'day guys, how's it going? It's Bloodteeth here, bringing you another video of Gemcraft Frostborn Wrath. And in today's video, I'd like to try and finally suss out exactly where you would want to put your skill points if you wanted to focus on making the most effective possible mana farm. This one's been a little bit debated, and it's not overly easy to calculate, if I'm going to be honest. It's not straightforward because at the end of the day, the amount of skill points that you put into upgrading in a skill is the amount. It's not a set amount, like adding one skill point. No, upping the level of a skill to level 1 from 0 will cost you 1 skill point. Level 2 costs 2 skill points plus the sum of all the skill points before it. So that's 2 plus 1 is 3. Level 3 costs 6. Level 4 costs 10. Level 5 costs 15, etc. so on and so forth. And trying to calculate this in a mathematical sense on exactly how much a skill point will cost you is actually not very straightforward to do, or as far as levels are concerned for these skills. It actually falls in the realms of sequences and series in mathematical terms. So there is some notation out there that you can use to try and wrangle the calculation of these formulas a little bit, but I thought I'd try and get some raw data from the game first and then try and simplify it a little bit, so that I can give you some advice, because I do have some numbers and some recommendations, but the overall result, it's not pretty. I'm going to be blunt. It's actually not pretty at all. How do I put this? At the end of the day, again, because we're using sequences and series here, you would have to use a lookup table, and also to make life a little bit easier for you, some formulas to give you recommendations on exactly which of the skills you would put skill points in and how much levels you would give those particular skills to, shall we say, distribute your unspent skill points in the most efficient way possible to maximize the efficiency of your mana farm given your skill points. To put that into real terms, let's just say I have 1,613,709 skill points. Okay, now if I go ahead and max out all of the skills, and this is going to take a while, I should have done this off camera, sorry guys, but if I go ahead and max out all of the skills that do have a cap of 50, then what's left is a bunch of skills that don't have any cap at all in terms of how far up you can go ahead and upgrade them. I think technically there is a cap. It might be something like, I don't know, the maximum number of a 32-bit integer or long or something like that. So it might be something like 2 billion something. It might be something pretty much, unrealistically high. So for all intent purposes, let's just pretend that these particular skills that say no cap have no cap. Okay, you will never actually reach it in any realistic manner. Let's see, those have caps. Okay. Now, for someone like me, or someone who has a reasonably high wizard level, basically you would max out all of the stuff that doesn't have a cap, and then after that you would go ahead and just adjust all of the skills that you have to the way you like them, excluding these 4: traps, amplifiers, mana leech, and true colors. Everything else, just upgrade them as much as you feel you would like to, because these skills that I'm upgrading right now do not affect how effective a mana farm can be. The only thing that affects how effective a mana farm can be is essentially two factors. At least as far as your skills are concerned. There is another factor, and that is how much you upgrade your gem and whether or not your gem's pure gem or whether or not it's a dual, triple, or quad gem in terms of components. But let's just say for the moment we're going with a mana farm that consists of only pure mana leeching gems. Okay, pure gems, pure orange ones. The only two factors to take in consideration for a mana farm is the component power, effectively how much mana it will leech every time it fires a shot in a trap, and also how fast it fires shots while in a trap. That's all it is. How fast can it shoot, and how much is it going to leech every time it fires a shot? These four, True Colors, Mana Leech, Amplifiers, and Traps are the only four, as I've said previously, the only four skills that can actually contribute to making a mana farm more effective. So, ignoring those four, just go ahead and put some skill points wherever you want in all of the other skills to however you feel is necessary. What's better for critical hit? I've never actually calculated this. Let's see. So we have 24%. Oh yeah, that 24% seems to carry over everywhere. Interesting. Oh, except for armor tearing. That's different. Yeah, but that makes sense. Let's see. So this has 24% increase. And this has 15%. Range doesn't really matter. Okay. Well, in that case, if I'm going to make that 200, I may as well make this 150. Or something along those lines. As you know, I do like to play my endurance on fields with shrines, and bleeding is actually quite important as far as gem components go for making successful runs on those fields with shrines. So I'm going to pump that up to 300. I'm going to leave armor tearing alone because I don't use it. Same with poison. And I'm going to put slowing at 100. Okay, that's every single skill taken care of except for the four that I was talking about. So, why did I do that? Because I just wanted to allocate all of the other skills, so what I have left is what I can allocate to the four remaining skills, which is effectively the distribution of how I'm going to set up the skills to maximize my mana farm. Now, I've got 1,514,234 skill points left. How do I distribute them between traps, amplifiers, mana leech, and true colors effectively, or as effective as I can, so that I can get the most potent mana farm? For example, if you because all four of these skills, they don't actually contribute to the, let's say, the power of the mana farm that you're going to have. They don't contribute to the power of the mana farm equally to each other. For example, every time you upgrade, and I'm going to do this in steps of 5, because every single skill, as you can see, has a secondary. They have a primary and a secondary benefit. Secondary benefits only tick up every 5 skill levels that is allocated up into a skill. So, instead of looking at the difference between the base 25 and 26, I'll be looking at the difference between 25 and 30, or the difference between 30 and 35, and so forth. That carries on for all skills. Pardon me. All skills when talking about, trying to calculate the benefit. So for every 5 levels, Mana Leech makes a mana farm essentially 24% more powerful. Okay? Just take my word for it. It does. If you look at it, we go from 100% higher Mana Leech with an additional 20% for grade 7 plus gems. 120 goes to 120 and 24. So that's 120. That's 20 plus 4% more. So your mana farm is now 24% more effective than it was here. For true colors, let's see. Damage doesn't matter, but specials multiplier to pure gems does. Unfortunately, we don't have any benefit from the secondary benefit or component, whatever it is, that True Colors does as a skill, because we're not going to be using dual, triple, or quad gems, because no matter how much you pump this up, at the end of the day, it's still not going to provide a component power more powerful than the component power of a pure gem. We're not going for range, we're not going for damage. Those two, especially, well, actually, damage does benefit a lot by combining gems with more than one component power, but we're only interested in the mana farm. So this helps the specials, and to keep things consistent with this whole tick up of 5 skills, when you tick this one up 5 skills, we go from 75% to 90%. So every 5 skills you get a 15% bonus. So this, for the same skills, you've got a 24% increase on Mana Leech, but only 15% increase on True Colors. That you need to keep in mind. Next up, we have amplifiers. Now, amplifiers was a pain. I had to actually go into the game and go ahead and shove all grade 12 Mana Leech gems in traps, and I set up a trap with no amplifiers, one with 1 amplifier, one with 2, yada yada, all the way up to 6 amplifiers. All amplifiers holding grade 12 gems. I used grade 12 because I did initially use grade 1 gems, and I found that the numbers were just too low. I was getting some, rounding issues that were being done by the game. So I made it grade 12 so the numbers were nice and clear. And this is the data that I got, because I cannot really make heads or tails of exactly what the hell all of the what this means. Plus 10% range and firing speed ratio spread. I'm guessing ratios spread because of maybe, I don't know, the fact that you can have more than one amplifier, or maybe it's the percentage of the gem that's in the amplifier. I don't know. I honestly couldn't figure it out. And plus 2 damage and special effect ratio. So special effect, that's actually the component power. What does all this mean? I don't know. What I do know is you can have, anywhere between 0 and 6 amplifiers around a gem. So I just went ahead and got all of this raw data myself just by going into game and playing it and leaving my skill level at 25, which is the base. I then went ahead and did the same thing at 30 and the same thing at 35, and then I went ahead and took the differences and all of that stuff. Long story short, what you're seeing here is the shot frequency and the Mana Leech for, say, when the skill level is 25, for a grade 12 gem, no amplifiers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 amplifiers. This is the shot frequency and the Mana Leech. Now, that's the raw data. I tried to convert that into basically the amount of leeching that this thing could do per second. These are the numbers. It's very simple. You just multiply that by that. These are the numbers that I got for, skill 25, skill level 30, and skill level 35. And basically from here, knowing how much more powerful it was, I did a little calculation of saying, okay, how much more powerful is it between, basically. But that didn't really give me much more. I found that it was reasonably sort of consistent, the increase. Basically what I found, I actually deleted that. That was over here. I didn't show that. But basically, the amount of amplifiers that you put around a gem does actually have the same increase every time you add an amplifier. So the benefit is actually linear. So putting 4 amplifiers around a gem, for example, in a tower or a trap, will have double the effect of putting 2, and putting 6 will have triple the effect of putting 2. Basically, in terms of benefit for, you know, your firing speed, your extra damage. Now, remember, this is not doubling the gem, the power of the gem inside the trap. We're talking about the relative difference. Okay, so that was interesting to sort of confirm that it's relatively linear, again due to rounding issues that are done within the game itself. I think sometimes it sort of strays a little bit from that line, but for the most part it's linear. So it was good to just confirm that. What I did to calculate exactly how powerful amplifiers are in the grand scheme of things, to sort of bring it down to a number, I suppose you could say, was to also go ahead and basically, what did I do? This divided by this. So how much of an increase do I get when I go up a grade? How much of an increase in power do I see? Now, obviously, I didn't bother with, you know, no amplifiers, because that doesn't tell me anything. That was just a base, a control to see, you know, whether or not it would be consistent. And it turns out it does. Yeah, just quick side note. Turns out that, you know, when you create a gem with a specific grade, no matter what your skill points are, even in the same game you're playing on a field, if you create multiple gems with the same grade, you'll find that their range on damage differs ever so slightly. I think it's a little bit randomized, but it's good to see that at least the firing speed and also the component power remain exactly the same. They're not randomized at all. So that was also nice to know. That just makes it a little bit easier for me to calculate exactly how powerful amplifiers are. Anyway, what I did was I found out basically as a percentage how much extra benefit you get when you go up in a level. And basically what I saw was something along the lines of this. Basically, you've got your 1 and 2% increases. So the increase is sort of cumulative. You've also got, you know, bigger increases for the more amplifiers that you add, which is realistic. So then I thought, okay, let's be honest. We're not always going to be rolling around with amplifiers that are of, you know, 6 amplifiers around every single trap all the time. That's just not the way it is. When you're playing in fields, you've got, you know, trees that are put in the way and non-buildable areas that will stop you from being able to put amplifiers around all of your traps. So realistically, I thought, okay, the best number to go for would be something like, you know, around 3 or 4 amplifiers around a trap, for just, you know, most fields that you play. That's just how it's going to be on average. So coming away with that, I eventually got a number of about 5%, just to really simplify it. So after all that, trying to calculate amplifiers. Oh, and by the way, traps gives a bonus of about 26% increase in power for your mana farm. Amplifiers is a measly 5%. Mana Leech is 24% increase, and True Colors is 15%. Now, I went ahead and plugged in all of those numbers here, and what have we got? If you sum them all up, it equals a 70% increase. What does that mean? Basically, if I go ahead and do this, if I add 5 to each and every single one of these, all 4 of them, then I've just increased the power of whatever mana farm I have by 70%. That's what you do every single time you increase these. Now, what happens though when you have, say, a lot of skill points like this that you need to somehow allocate? All of these skill points to these. I can't add them evenly because, as you know, I would get less benefits from putting skill points into amplifiers and even to an extent True Colors than if I do to Mana Leech and Traps. Okay, it doesn't work like that. You've got to sort of spread them out in a sort of a ratio. But even then, a ratio is not going to help you that much, because at the end of the day, what you're looking at here is essentially a sequences and series sort of scenario. It's not like, if you want to go up 5 levels, it's going to cost you 5 skill points. It's going to cost you 15. Okay, that's what these numbers are for. I basically went ahead and did a tiny little formula that basically adds the next number to the sum of the previous numbers, and that's what this table is. So to go up 5 skill points is 5 levels on a skill, it's going to cost you 15 skill points. To go up 10 levels, it's going to cost you 55. That's a lot more than double 15. Okay, same story with 15 is 120, 20 is 210, etc., so on and so forth. By the time you get to upgrading a skill to level 50, it's going to cost you 1,275 skill points. So this is a number that is continually growing. It is actually exponential. So with that in mind, how do you go ahead and spread out your skill points evenly across these to be able to effectively maximize the potential of your mana farm? It's quite difficult, if I'm going to be honest. What do you do? Well, I tried something here. I'm not convinced this works, to be honest. But essentially I thought, okay, let's go ahead and, instead of representing these as they are to 0.7, which is 70% power, let's just 100% them so we know what their ratios should be in terms of skill points that could be allocated based on the amount of power that they give to the mana farm. So what have we got? Traps does 37%, Mana Leech does 34%, True Colors does 22%, Amplifiers does 7%. So again, I'm not convinced this is a great way of calculating. If someone's a little bit more mathematically inclined towards sequences and series, please by all means leave a comment down below and correct me, but this is the best I can do, because honestly I didn't really pay attention to sequences and series back in high school, and I'm quite rusty at it. So, but what I've got here is a very straightforward sort of split of sorts. And again, I'm not convinced this works, but if I go 1, 5, 1, 4, 2, 3, 4, then these numbers, I should probably give them a different color. There we go. I should allocate 108,547 skill points to amplifiers, 559,018 skill points to traps, 521,027 skill points to Mana Leech, and 325,642 skill points to true colors. Essentially, I'm pretty sure this works. If you can't try and represent this mathematically through sequences and series, then what I would do is I would just go ahead and work it out programmatically. I would say, okay, no problems. Whatever these are, let's round them to the nearest 5. So, if I'm going to be honest, I think I can, actually. Equals, can I round? Oh, good, I can. No, it's rounding to the digits, it's not rounding to... No. What am I trying to think of? It's not ceiling or floor. Because ceiling will always round it up to the nearest 5. Floor will round it down to the nearest 5. But what is it? It's absolute. No, absolute is making everything positive. I don't know. There's a formula out there somewhere that allows you to adjust the rounding to within a certain number. And I know at least in VBA code you can do it. Unfortunately, I don't think you can do it in Seal. Can you? Is there? Rounds a number up to the nearest integer or to the nearest multiple of significance. Multiple of significance. Is there No. Sign is not. No. Alright. Let's just try this. It's not right. Ceiling of this to 5. And I've just realized I've wrecked my table. And let's just make that point there. Beautiful. Okay. So, basically, more or less, this is how I'm going to allocate the points. In fact, I probably should have, let's see, let's just make it that. Okay, this way we get the points properly. And after you allocate all of those points, you'll have a few points left over. Not many, but just a few for your initial mana bonus. Now, these are the points that I need to sync for these. Now, how does that equate to levels? That is a question of sequences and series, and I honestly cannot give that to you right now. I don't know how to represent that mathematically. I'm not sure if it even can be represented mathematically. I think it needs to be programmed, or, you know, like this, you need to make a lookup table. So, let's do something like that. Yeah, I know. This has turned into a real pain, but hey, I am very, very genuinely dedicated to finally figuring this out, because honestly, until now, it's kind of been a little bit of guesswork for me and hit and miss. Only tonight did I finally try and figure this out this way, and now that I have these, let's see. How can I... Gee, I should have written a macro that just quickly find the nearest total for these, so I could say what level it is. I'm just going to have to look it up manually. So, alright, 108545. I'm just going to do this as an example. 108. Did I say 108? Yeah, 108. Let's see. That's 108345. Close enough. So, 465 in, oh jeez. I'm going to have to move this table down again. I'm running out of room. Okay. Sorry, guys. Hopefully this won't take much longer. I forgot what I was supposed to say. 108345. Because 108811 is bigger than the number that I have. So, I need 465 in amplifiers. So, 465 in amplifiers. Traps 559010. I hope that's not greater than 1000. 559010. Oh, no way. Five 55910. Okay, so we got 1056. I'll just round that to 1055. Actually, I just realized this is not where I need to be doing the rounding. That's ridiculous. This is where I do the rounding, for God's sake. Come on. I really need to focus. Okay. 521015. 521015. So, oh, perfect. It's already on a 5. 1020. And lastly, 325634. 325364. That would be it. 806. Okay, 805. So, apparently, where I'm at right now. Hey. Bloody thing. Did I copy? Copy you. Alright, that's just really weird. Thank you. Alright. So, where I'm at right now, I should make amplifiers 465. That's a hell of a lot lower than I was having it previously. Traps 1055, which is a lot higher than I had it previously. Mana Leech 1020, which is again a lot higher than I had it previously. And True Colors at 805. A little bit higher than I thought previously. Okay, it seems that I put way too much stock into amplifiers. I was not giving it much attention previously, but sort of recently I did actually give it. I thought, okay, let's increase amplifiers a little bit, because I don't understand exactly what the hell all this tooltip garbage actually means in real terms. Now that I've crunched the numbers a little bit and I've got a little bit of a spread, yeah, I'm pretty confident that they're nowhere near as useful as I thought they were. Gee, it'd be really nice if I could just go ahead and delve right into the code and then see exactly what the formula is that the game authors used, so that I could actually tell you guys without a shadow of a doubt exactly how it works and exactly what percentage amplifiers gives in terms of increasing mana farm power. But that's okay. Through observation we can sort of, reverse engineer it a little bit. This is what I need to put in. I'm going to do that off camera now. But anyway, I hope you found this somehow useful. These are the formulas. Basically, what I did was, if you go ahead and create a spreadsheet with, set your spreadsheet up like this. Okay. This isn't really overly important, actually, to be honest. What's important is these numbers here. So, ignoring these, just go ahead and set up amplifiers, traps, mana leech, true colors, 7%, 37%, 34%, 22%. Then, what you're going to do is you're going to dedicate a cell somewhere where you type in how many unspent skill points you have, or at least unspent skill points you're willing to put in to your skills. You may want to leave some left over for initial mana bonus. So whatever you want in terms of mana to start with, at least for this particular number, that's before calculating it with bonuses and so forth from your talisman and your fragments. Whatever you want here, divide it by 7, I believe, and that is the number of skill points that you want to take away from your unspent skill points. Okay, so whatever that is remaining, plug that number into here or a cell, and just go ahead and multiply this percentage by the number in that cell, and that will tell you how many skill points that you are going to ideally put into that skill. And then you've got to create this lookup table. Basically, this table is something along those lines. Basically, I type 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I just go ahead and grab that and keep going down like that. Just for my purposes, because my wizard level is so damn high, and I've got so many unspent skill points, I had to drag that down. How far did I? Well, I had to drag it down to at least 1,055. It'll be different depending on your wizard level, but it doesn't hurt to maybe say, go get the first 1,000, I suppose, numbers, and then from there use a simple formula that adds the number next to it to the left with the number that is above it, and always start with 0 as well. I mean, technically you don't have to start with 0, but for completeness sake, start with 0, and then this will give you on the right hand side the number of skill points you need to get this level in any skill. And it's just a matter of going ahead and saying, okay, this is what I'm hunting for, 108545. What is the level that requires just enough skill points just below this number, where the next level up requires too many skill points? So you want to get that previous one. So 108545, 108545. I'm looking for 108545, 108811. I don't have 108345. I have 200 more than that, so this is my number, not this one. 465. Bang. Go ahead and just store it there. Round the number down 5 skill points, I suppose. That's actually, a safe option, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to keep rounding up and all the time, because you might actually run out of your unspent skill points. So whatever your number is, round it down to the nearest 5, and then go through the very arduous process of increasing all of these. Oh god, I wish I could just type this in. You know what? If this is going to be painful for me, it's going to be painful for you too. I command you all to sit there and watch me slowly increase all of these skill points until they reflect what's on the spreadsheet. That is the price you are going to pay for watching me. For me actually going ahead and figuring this out. I'm still not 100% convinced that I have the right calculations here for amplifiers. If anyone can correct me on that, I would really appreciate it. But essentially, once I've done this, at least almost all of my skill points, my unspent skill points, will be spent. And then apparently my mana farm will be as efficient as it can possibly be. Right. Oh god. I hope I don't have to do this ever again. This is ridiculous. I'm going to wear out my mouse wheel doing this. Right, 805, Mana Lich, 1020. just in case they're watching, note to the game author, next time please make it so you can type a number in, or something where you can, actually, you know what, game author is pretty clever. Holding down shift does nothing, holding down control does nothing, holding down tab does nothing, holding down space does nothing. What about the arrow key? No, nothing. Damn it. Is there anything in the tooltip that says something about? No, I can't see anything that hints toward the possibility of actually doing this quicker. I was hoping maybe there was something that would allow you to jump 5 levels at a time. Hey, I'd take that right now for sure. That means I would have to scroll the wheel 5 times less. And lastly, 1055 in traps. Oh, you know what would have been really cool? If the game author actually programmed in a lookup table up to about like 5,000 or 10,000 or something. And from there, basically, they have like a achievement unlock or something like that. If you get all achievements, for example, then a button will appear where you will just say click, and it will take all of your unspent skill points and distribute them within these 4 to make the maximum possible mana farm just done for you in one hit. I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to ask for, but right now, the one time where it's irrelevant for me, I want that feature. What other stupid features would you want? Selfish features that you would want the game author to put into this game? Let me know in the comments below. There we go. Okay, unspent skill points 3,724. What happens if I... Oh yeah, I can't even upgrade that 3 times. So... Okay, I was able to upgrade amplifiers 1 more time. That's it. So apparently now my skill points are distributed in a way such that I have maximized my mana farm potential. I'll, off camera, I promise this time, really, off camera, I will go ahead and try and test that and see whether or not I notice any difference. Like the way I had my skill points spread out before, I don't think I'll notice much of a difference, if I'm going to be brutally honest. But at the moment, let's just say that in my endurance runs on fields with shrines, I have been... Let's see, how far do I get? I get the mana farm. Oh, pardon me. I get my mana farm up to a point where I have about grade 53 gems in it. And then I save up for a grade 57 gem to put in the enragement slot. And then I just go from there. If I find it a little bit easier to go ahead and get to that point, or if I find that I can, within the same sort of amount of waves or time or whatever, if I think I can actually go ahead and get a higher grade gem than that, then I would say that was a success. That would be me making the most out of my skill points for my mana farm. I'll have to go ahead and test that, and if I find it's true, then I'll call it a success story, and I'll leave a comment in this video below stating that. If not, I will also put a comment stating that this was a failure and that I probably miscalculated amplifiers horribly. Either way, I look forward to your comments, guys. I hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope it opened your eyes a little bit on exactly how to distribute your skills to maximize your mana farm. Have a play with it. Set up your spreadsheets to be like this. Modify amplifiers a little bit more if you think it's wrong. As for traps, mana leech, and true colors, they're exactly right. That's without a shadow of a doubt correct. Amplifiers, yeah, whatever. Anyways, Catch you later, guys.